Really big on people pantomiming their faith, going through the actions of faith. But we live in a very performative society. We live in a very performative culture, an age of performance. People don't just experience moments anymore. They want to brand them. They want to make them their own. People just don't, they just don't help people anymore. That's me. They'll help if they can get a good picture of it so they can post it on the socials. They want to document their goodness. They look at the performance I did. Now I want you to be super proud of me because I, helped this homeless person, or I helped this, black kid in Africa. Right? You know what I mean? We want to take selfies of it to prove our performance, to prove our worthiness. This is what we do. And somewhere along the way, it became possible to do the right thing for the wrong reasons. So our big idea today is God is not after religious performance. He is forming merciful and loving people whose inner lives are genuine. This is where we want to land today, just so you can keep that in mind. In week 1, Jesus opened up this Sermon on the Mount talking about redefining blessing, like who are truly the blessed people. And we talked about how what we think is blessed isn't actually blessed. We think the people with all the houses and all the cars and all the boats and all the girls and all the jobs, that they're blessed. And Jesus said it was just the opposite of that. And then last week, our friend and elder Elliot was here, and he was talking about how we also need to rethink what the rules are and how the rules work. And this week, Jesus goes deeper because he gets to our motivation. God bless you. Because apparently, it's possible to do spiritual things while still being spiritually unhealthy. I can perform spiritual acts, but be unhealthy inside. It's possible to look righteous without becoming loving. It's possible to perform religion without actually knowing God. Matthew 6:1 says this, "Take heed that you do not your righteousness before men, that you not do your righteousness before men to be seen of them, else ye have no reward with your Father in heaven." Sorry, I can't even read this because it's so messed up. Let me try it in the easy version. Let me try this in the easy version. Jesus then said to them, you should do good things to help people, but be careful. Don't do this so that other people see you. If you only want other people to praise you, your Father in heaven will not praise you. In fact, let's go one step even easier. Let's talk about this. In the Message, it says, be especially careful when you're trying to be good so that you don't make a performance of it. It might be good theater, but the God who made you won't be applauding. Oof. Golly. So hey, look at me helping this homeless person. Like, God's not applauding this. So keep in mind as we go through this, that this message is not public faith is bad or being seen doing good is wrong, because as we've talked about in recent weeks, Jesus clearly said, let your good deeds shine out for all to see. We're supposed to do them publicly. The issue is not visibility. The issue is motive. What's your motive for doing it? Let's talk about the danger of religious performance. Because righteousness can become theater. It becomes something that we do to put on a show. Look at how righteous I am. Jesus warns that spiritual practices can slowly become something that's more like image management or reputation maintenance, public branding, religious performance, trying to expand into modern culture, performative activism, curated spirituality. Look how compassionate I am. So we do this social media virtue signaling. And churches building image over substance, pastors becoming personalities instead of shepherds. Sometimes our righteousness has very little to do with loving God and even less to do with loving people. It has everything to do with needing to be seen. We want to be religious so we can be seen being religious. And even churches can drift into this. The lights and the presentation, the image, crafting spiritual experiences that look powerful, that feel powerful. And this isn't just mega churches with their laser beams and their, smoke machines. We've been crafting worship spaces that look impressive and make us feel something for centuries. This is a picture of, oh, sorry, I meant to show you that. This is Eastman Cathedral. It's in Armenia. It was built in 301 AD. So, 1700 years ago? We've been building cathedrals for 1700 years. And we build them so that they are glorious to be in. So you feel something when you're in them. So you feel it. But what I feel and what I do are two different things, aren't they? Aren't what I feel in my heart, aren't they two different things? Because my feeling feels like it's like, this was Kaiser Soze in Usual Suspects, if you're old enough. Just like that, he was gone. Feelings are nothing. My feelings change with the blow of the wind. My feelings change all the time. So if I go to this big giant church and like, oh my God, look at these people, smoke and lasers and light. And, oh my God, I feel it. I feel it. And we were doing this for centuries, where you walk into a church and it's giant with its towering ceilings and its stained glass and its candles and it smells and all the statues, and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel it. And God's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why would you create something with your own hands that makes you feel something when the Creator is right here? But we do that. We want to manufacture these feelings. And what it ends up being are empty calories. They look like $1 million. Oh, nom, 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 nom. Like, this looks amazing. This makes me feel so good. I'm not going to lie. Donuts make me... Listen, cream-filled donut, not custard. So get out of here with that. You might as well go across to the other church or something, because no one wants a custard-filled donut. Pudding in my donut? What? These are two totally different desserts. All right, you could stay if you eat custard, I guess. But anyway, it's cream-filled for me, right? It's just like you break it open, you just like, then you push some of that end in, so there's even more cream in that first bite. Oh, yeah. I like donuts, but there's nothing to them. They have all the calories, but no nourishment. Do you hear me? No nourishment. So we do this thing in our churches and in our lives where we want the optics to look nice, the presentation, the image, and the brand, right? But on the inside, it's dirty cups. All shiny and bright on the outside, but on the inside, dirty cups. By the way, you can know, in case you've ever wondered how you can tell an AI image from just a normal image, this cup here has 3 handles on it. So unless it's a really weird person drinking that cup of coffee, that's anyway. But on the inside, dirty cups, shiny, brilliant, bright on the outside, filthy on the inside. Here's what it says in Matthew 23. Jesus addresses this. Woe to you, you self-righteous scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites! For you clean the outside of the cup and of the plate, but inside they're full of extortion and robbery and self-indulgence, unrestrained greed. You spiritually blind Pharisee. First clean the inside of the cup and of the plate. Examine and change your inner self to conform to God's precepts, so that the outside, your public life and deeds, may be clean also. Jesus keeps pulling people back towards sincerity and humility and mercy and quietness. Privateness. What are you privately? I need to examine and change my inner self to conform to God's precepts. Why am I doing it? What's my motivation? Is it pure? Who could tell? Are you even close enough with people that you could tell them, or that they could tell you? We were talking about this yesterday in Bro. I need to have a group of people that I feel close enough to where they can call me out on my bologna sausage. Do you have people that can call you out on your bologna sausage? By the way, I have 3 pounds of bologna sausage upstairs in my refrigerator that my friend Mike Miller smoked for me yesterday. I'm really excited to try it. Anyway, you need people to do that. I need to be at men's group to do that. I need to be at Grounded to do that. I need to be in Bible study. I need to be hanging out with my friends to do that. I can't get that accomplished on a Sunday morning in the hour and a half that we have together. I can't do that. I'm not going to be able to build a relationship that's strong enough that people feel comfortable to call me out of my bologna sausage. And without that, what am I even doing? There's a problem when the audience becomes the reward. Several times, Jesus says this phrase. He says, they have received all the reward they will ever get. And in that passage from Matthew, Jesus says, if recognition is what you wanted, recognition is what you got. If you're doing it for the recognition, you already got it. Applause is a shallow reward. I'm going to do this and I'm going to get applause. I'm going to get notoriety. I'm going to get fame. I'm going to get slaps on the back. It's a shallow reward because it never actually transforms you. It only feeds the performance cycle in me. Oh, I'm going to do this thing. So I got applause. Now I need to do the thing again. In fact, now I got to do it better or longer or deeper or something because they've already seen it once and they applauded. And they're not going to applaud if I do the same thing again. I got to get better at it. I got to do more of it. Do you see the performance problem? If I'm just doing it for applause. When we only do something for credit or praise or applause or remuneration, the benefit to us is only the credit. I'm reminded of my Fitbit watch, my Apple Watch. If you have step goals on your watch or movement goals or stand goals, I don't even know that stand goals should be a thing. But anyway, you know that when you complete your ring, like you get the, hey, congratulations, Pete. There's like fireworks. Ding, 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 ding. You did it. You met your step goal. And so I wear this watch. I try to meet my step goal. And then sometimes I'll realize that I don't have my watch on. Right? And I'm like, I've walked these stairs 15 times today. I'm not even wearing my watch. I'm not even getting credit for these steps. Does everyone else ever do that? Can't believe I did all that and not even getting credit for it. God, so stupid. So then you put your watch on your dog and try to get steps for your dog or something. I don't know. Or a paint shaker. Never thought about that. Just go to Home Depot and tape that to a can. But don't you see how empty that is? We're not even thinking about the nutritional, healthful value of walking. We just want to get the credit for our walking. Oh, crap, I can't believe I walked all those stairs. I don't even get credit. What? You walked all the stairs. Do you see the difference? Is this hitting you guys? Do you understand what I'm saying? Because it's ridiculous how we think. And it's not just about our step goals. It's about our faith goal and our spiritual goals as well. Who cares if we get credit? We should be doing it anyway. The benefit of our steps isn't in the recognition from our watch. And in that same way, the goodness of our actions isn't in the recognitions to the public. We do good for the good, not for the recognition. You're good for the good, not so you get credit. If your identity depends on being seen by people, you will eventually become a prisoner of their opinions. Now you're only going to be performing for people. I'm not even going to do this if I don't get credit for it. I'm not going to do it because no one's even going to be there. I'm not even going to show up. Can you even imagine? But people will do it because they don't. I'm not getting the accolades. I'm not getting the laurels. I'm not getting the applause. I'm not getting that. I'm not doing it. What? I guess that's fine if you're doing open mic, at the comedy club, or if you're, I guess that's fine for that. But if you're talking about your faith, your spirituality, your eternity, your service to the kingdom, I don't think those rules apply. You show up no matter what. We need to have mercy over performance. There's this line in Matthew 12:7. Oh, I just said that. The scriptures say, I don't want animal sacrifices. I want you to show kindness to people. But you guys don't even know what that means. This is Jesus talking to the Pharisees, to the religious experts. And he says, listen, I know that your scriptures say that it says, God says, I don't want animal sacrifices. I want you to show kindness to your people. And you've skipped all that. You're just focusing on the sacrifices. And what Jesus is doing here is he's quoting Hosea, who says, this is God talking, "For I desire and delight in dutiful, steadfast love and goodness, not sacrifice, and the knowledge of an acquaintance with God more than burnt offerings." Yesterday we were in men's group talking, and we were talking about how the other problem that Jesus once had was, he was talking to the Pharisees, because the Pharisees were mad that his disciples weren't following the Sabbath because they had broken off some wheat, were eating some wheat on the Sabbath. And like, what are you doing? Your disciples are harvesting grain on the Sabbath, and we cannot do that. And like, well, they're hungry. You cannot pick grain. You should have pre-picked that yesterday. And Jesus said, listen, the Sabbath was created for man, not man for the Sabbath. Meaning that Sabbath was created for us to benefit us. It gave us a reason to rest. Like, we weren't created to fulfill the Sabbath. We weren't created so people could be like robot their way through the laws. And Jesus says the same thing here. That sure, the sacrifices are beautiful and good, and the burnt offerings are good and beautiful, but they point to something. But if they become the thing that we're pointing to, it becomes a problem because it empties the heart out. There's nothing on the inside that means anything. If I'm just doing religious things for the sake of doing religious things, I'm not religious. If my heart isn't in it. So back to that song that we sang. If my heart isn't in worship, don't even bother, bro. Come at 9:25. Come at 9:30. If you're not actually worshiping, like, sleep in. Don't come for worship if you're not worshiping, because it's not an opening act. It's not like the first group that's singing to you while you get in from the outside to the parking lot into the stadium. That's not what's happening. If your heart's not in it, stop doing it. God was not condemning sacrifices themselves. He's the one that instituted them. The problem was people were maintaining religious activity while at the same time becoming harsh and proud and judgmental and cold and unmerciful and spiritually performative. And God has never been deeply impressed by religious activity that doesn't produce love. If it's not producing love, probably not coming from God. If whatever you're doing doesn't create love in you, it's probably not from God. This is for real, for real. Anything that we should do should be producing love in us. For one another, for God certainly, right? For people out there. That everything we should do should be doing that. That's why our little slogan is on a sticker. And if you don't have a sticker on your car, we put a sticker on your car that says, love, love, and go. Love the Lord with all your heart, mind, and soul, and love your neighbor as yourself, and go and make a difference. That's it. Those are the instructions. That's the extent of our religious liturgy. That's it. No sacraments, no seasons, all that's beautiful, and it points to a beautiful and loving God, and I can celebrate that. But listen, the extent of our instruction is to love, love, and go. That's it. I'm fully fulfilling the law by loving. If I'm loving, there's nothing I can do that would ever get me in trouble. I'll never be in trouble. I'm beyond judgment. And if I look at the things that are unloving in my life, those are my sins. What are you doing that's unloving? Knock it off. Knock off your nonsense. You can be deeply involved in religion while remaining untouched by mercy. The Pharisees prayed and fasted and tithed and studied Scripture and followed rituals, but they lacked tenderness and compassion, humility, forgiveness, and mercy. And Jesus exposes that contradiction repeatedly. All those times that he's in trouble with the Pharisees and the Sadducees, it's around this fact. Now, Jesus isn't anti-prayer. He's not anti-fasting or anti-generosity or anti-sacraments or anti-spiritual disciplines. He's anti-hypocrisy. Don't do it if you don't mean it. Stay home. Don't worship if you don't mean it. Stay home. Don't come to church if you don't mean it. Stay home. You're not getting credit for showing up in church. There's no angel keeping track of a book. I see Emmy made it to church today. Like, that's not even happening. Emmy made a church that she played with somebody. I don't even know who. But who would have prayed with that chick if Emmy wasn't here? That's why Emmy's here. Emmy's not here to get her name written down in a book. Emmy was here. I've never ever done this. Do you ever do this when you're writing? I've never ever licked a pen in my life. I don't know why we do that. Anyway, no one's keeping notes. If your heart's not in it, don't do it. Because you're not accomplishing anything. The practices, religious practices, are supposed to shape us into loving people. We have to remember that church activity, spiritual activity, religious activity is not the same as Christ-likeness. We should be Christ-like. There's several times in this chapter where Jesus says, and the Father who sees this, who sees all things. In Matthew 6:4, he says that your giving may be in secret, and your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. Regarding prayer, go into your room, close the door, pray to your Father who is unseen, then your Father who sees everything will reward you in fasting. So that it will not be obvious to others that you are fasting, but only your Father who is unseen. Your Father who sees what is done will reward you. Time and time again, he points out that don't do it to be seen. The God who you can't see sees you doing it. You're already getting all the credit. Jesus keeps emphasizing God sees your hidden faithfulness. It doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be unsocial. God sees it. And not just your actions, but your motives, your sincerity, your exhaustion, and your private obedience. He sees all of it. And that's the credit you're getting. Not applause, not merit badges, not position and title. God sees it. And that's all the credit that should be on our mind. The kingdom grows in places nobody applauds. In the acts that we do that no one sees. That's how the kingdom grows. Where we see hidden people, we speak to hidden people, and we serve hidden people, the people that no one else is paying attention to. Some people desperately need this kind of reminder. We need this kind of reminder that there are exhausted parents all around us. Quiet volunteers that never say anything. Caregivers and unseen servants. People privately fighting temptation. People privately fighting hidden trauma and hurt. People trying to heal. People who've been praying quietly for years. And God sees them, and He wants us to see them too. There's nothing that moves me like feeling something and then someone addressing that thing in me. Hey, I see you. I see you. Are we seeing each other? Sometimes we feel like we're too nervous. Like I don't want to I know this person has this thing going on, so I'm really nervous about reaching out to them or saying something to them. Maybe I shouldn't. Like I say time and time again, if you've been here for more than 4 weeks, this is actually your church family. God wants you here. It may not be forever, but for right now, He wants you here. And you have an obligation to care for the people that are here too. Everyone here. If something's going on with my friend, I should care. I need to care. I need to see them. I see that this is what's going on. They're not here, so I'll tell you this story. Don't tell them I told you this. So it was a couple weeks ago, and there's a family that comes all the time, and they were here, and there's one sister in that family, adult sister, that hardly ever comes, Christmas and Easter for the most part. And she was here, and she was getting super emotional during worship. Something was happening, I didn't know, but I was up here, I was supposed to be singing, and so I put my microphone, and I went and I held her for a second. And I'm not on holding basis with this person. We're on holding basis with I feel like I could hold you for a while. Mike, I could hold you, not on Cubs Brewers weeks, but every other week I feel like I could. I feel like I'm on holding basis with a lot of you, but I'm not with her, but she was clearly hurting. And Scott was like, Scott, you gotta go hold this person. And so I did, and she's very cryy, and I felt happy for that. And something shifted in her, I guess, from what I've heard. And I saw her. And we all see each other all the time. My friend Christine came to church today, and she had mom eyes. And I don't know if you had a mom or if you know a mom or something, but there's this thing that happens to their eyes when they have just had enough of the bologna sausage. And she walked up and she was all super cute with her cute denim with mustard thing, and it was super adorable. But as the closer she got, the more mom eyes I saw. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then her kids were like, you're not touching, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you. And her eyes went, raw, like this. So I told the kids, I said, listen, you got to start picking up these nonverbal cues that your mom's giving you that you got to simmer down. But like I wanted to make sure that Christine knew that I saw her. Like I want to know that I see you. Even though I didn't respond to your text, I'm really sorry. And that's what we should be doing. And that's what I do in the quiet. That's what deserves applause. That's the applause that we're getting in heaven. Not the applause that I'll get from you all, but that's the applause I'm getting in heaven. When I approached that lady that was crying and I gave her a hug, all of heaven's like, yes, chef's kiss, mwah, right? Like that's what was happening up there. Like that's all the credit I want. That's all the credit I need. And that's how we should care for one another. That wasn't any of that was in my notes. I'm really sorry. Whew. All right. Hypocrites need public validation, but children are secure in the love of their father and don't need constant applause. Hypocrites need public validation, but children of God are secure in the love of their father and don't need constant applause. We're almost done. Matthew 6:7. And when you pray, don't be like those people who don't know God. They continue saying things that mean nothing. They think that God will hear them because of the many things that they say. Prayer is not performance. It's not manipulation. It's not religious theater. It's not sounding spiritual. Prayer is relational. Some people say, I'm a lousy prayer. I don't know how to pray. I'm not going to, hey, when someone closes us out in prayer, I do this all the time in our meetings. No one ever closes us out in prayer. I don't really know how to pray. I'm not going to pray. Like, bro, I'm telling you, I don't know how to pray. I'm the least religious biblical prayer that I know. I've been around good prayers, and you're like, holy cats, man. Like, you feel heaven, when they pray. And I'm just like, Lord. And I'm hoping that God appreciates my sincerity. I'm hoping that God appreciates my realness with him, and I think that he does. And when we pray, that's how we should be praying. It's not about knowing the perfect prayer. It's about, God, I'm pissed. I'm so mad right now, God. Help me. I'm so sad right now, God. Help me. Like, there's no magic prayer. There's no incantation. There's no book of spells. God, I'm really hurting. Show me the way. Hey, show me the way. That's what prayer should look like. Even when Jesus gives us the model of the Our Father. We pray the Our Father, and we memorize the Our Father in our old English style. But all that's really happening there is by saying Our Father, we're indicating the intimacy that we know we should have with God. Our Father. When we say, holy is your name, we're expressing our reverence for God. When we say your kingdom come, we're surrendering to his will. When we say give us today, we're showing our dependence for him. When we say forgive us, we're showing our humility. And when we say lead us not, we're showing our trust. This is all that prayer is. It's not a performance for spectators. It's honesty before a Father. This last one is around fasting. And I know that we don't do corporate fasting as much as we should, i.e. not at all. But fasting is an important part of what we should be doing. But even though he's talking here about fasting, I want to tie in all the other spirituality things that we do. That we should fast without drama. We should be spiritual without drama. Jesus assumes that we're already fasting, but he condemns making it look like a spectacle. He says this, and when you fast, don't make it obvious, as the hypocrites do, for they try to look miserable and disheveled, so people will admire them for their fasting. I tell you the truth, that this is the only reward they will ever get. But when you fast, comb your hair and wash your face. No one will notice that you're fasting except your Father who knows what you do in private, and your Father who sees everything will reward you. It's everything we do in our performative spirituality. We suffer loudly and we serve loudly. Oh, I did this week. Oh, I couldn't believe how much time I spent an extra 2 hours at church this week. Oh, you should have seen all I did for this and all. Have you ever been around? Am I early? Am I late? All right. Wrap this up, sucker. They suffer loudly and they serve loudly. They post every hardship. Oh my gosh, you guys. I tell you this from my own experience. This was me 10 years ago. Every mishap. Oh my gosh, you guys. Oh, it's so hard to be me. Because you remember what I want, right? I want someone to say, oh, you poor baby. You deserve more than that. I'm still doing it. Are you doing it? Are you telling your sad tales endlessly? Have you memorized your sad tales? So it's almost like a script. You got it down. We weaponize our vulnerability. We turn spirituality into branding, but there's a difference between authenticity and exhibition. And I hope that for me, you see, I'm not trying to exhibit, make a show of it. I really hope that when I tell you my things, that you see it as being vulnerable. So you don't think that who's ever got this table is somehow better than you, somehow has it more figured out than you, somehow is holier than you, because that's not the case. It's not the case here. It's not the case across the street. It's not the case across town. It's not the case. I don't want to misrepresent my faith, my spirituality, or the grace and mercy of God in my life. So the question we should be asking ourselves is, would you still do it? If nobody knew you did it, would you still do it? If you couldn't post it on social, if no one saw you giving food to the homeless, if no one saw you do this, would you still do it? Would you still be generous? Would you still pray? Would you still forgive? Would you still serve? If no one saw you doing it, would you still do it? Almost every Saturday night, Doug comes in and he does something with the computer. I don't even know what. Every Saturday for us to come in on Sunday. No one's paying Doug for that. You're not paying him. I'm not paying him. No one's doing that for Doug. No one's doing that for Gail. Gail's stuck with those crazy kids every Saturday night. I didn't mean to call your kids crazy. Sorry. No one's doing that. And Doug has never once said, hey, I'd like a little more focus on me. I turn that light on back there so you can see Doug, but he doesn't even really want those lights on. We should all be doing something not to be seen, but just because I would still do it. This is something I'm capable of doing. It's something I don't mind half doing, right? And it serves my church. I'm going to do it. Now, would you guys feel robbed if we didn't have these things up? Maybe not. Maybe you don't care. Maybe you wouldn't care if there weren't lights on or I wasn't mic'd. Maybe I was just standing in this room and I was just shouting at you guys all the time. Maybe you wouldn't care. I think it's nice that Doug comes and does that. And Chelsea and Tyler who fill in when Doug's not here, But that means something to me. And Doug, would you still do it if no one noticed? Yes, because he's been doing it for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. He would still do it. What are you doing without getting credit for you? Would you still do it? Jesus says that the question reveals more about our hearts than we'd like to admit. Last point. It all has to do with the roots. A tree's visible strength that we see is determined by its invisible roots underneath. This tree is strong not because it's strong up here. It's strong because it's strong down here. Hidden. The part that's hidden. You could almost say this is on the inside. That this is the outside and that this is the inside. And that's where the strength comes from. But the thing is that no matter what happens on the outside, whether it's autumn or winter or spring, and this changes, and the looks change, and the appearance changes, and you start getting wrinkles or everything else, what doesn't change is what's happening down here. That doesn't change. And so I'm not performing for what you see on the outside. I'm performing for what's happening on the inside. And that's how we should try to think of our lives. Where the strength is hidden, the power is hidden, the resilience is hidden. Because anything could happen to the tree, but as long as the root system is in place, it's okay. The measure of spiritual maturity is not how visible your religion is, it's whether your life is becoming more merciful. So this week, do something good. Do something good that your social media will never see. Not because hidden is holier, but because love doesn't need an audience. So here's our next steps for this week. Do something good this week that your social media never hears about. Spend time in secret prayer. Make a quiet gift. a private reconciliation. If you owe someone something, if you owe someone an apology, like maybe this week go do that. Just like don't make an announcement, don't tell your wife or your husband, don't tell social media, Mom, I'm away over to Bob's house, and I'm going to apologize for being a jerk. Maybe just go to Bob's house and apologize for your part in being a jerk. An unnoticed act of service, a meal, a ride, or a kindness offered quietly that you don't need to tell everyone about. A message of encouragement with no expectation attached. Show mercy with no receipt. Do that this week. See what happens for you this week. See what happens if you are spiritual quietly. And see what happens. We've got a handful of questions that we've created for you. Doug's going to pull them up for you right now. Let's just take 15 minutes to talk those things through, and then we'll close.